Joseph Dendy was the chairman of the Republican Party in Cobb County, Georgia. He was indicted by a grand jury Friday for 13 counts of child molestation that spanned a period of 55 years. Finally got that sucker. Finally got that guy. His victims are, some of them were 4 years old. Some were 11 years old. Some were 13. One boy was 11. One girl was 4. His wife of 44 years, Billy, said that a victim had told her about this back in 1995, but she believed her husband. Yeah. So it was such a weird weekend. It was just so strange. I mean, the subject matter was dark and dank and just, kind of, defeating emotionally, because people in this country are so grotesque and so completely sure that the problem in this country are others and not themselves. And yet, when you get into the research and you start to feel like, well, let's put it this way. Democracy is not in peril, in my personal opinion, unless the polls flip or or Donald Trump is right and the vote is rigged. And by that, I mean purged. People will, get purged from the voter rolls and they don't check. So one of the things I would like everybody to do is you can do it with your state's Secretary of State. Tomorrow is a primary here in Florida. And of course, I vote in primaries, so I'll be there to vote. And a primary in Arizona, I guess it's a Republican. You got a choice between a young physician who is 47 years old and thinks that McCain is too old to continue on. And, of course, John McCain, who doesn't remember if he's too old to continue on. And then here we've got a primary of various people, depending on where you live in this state. But yeah, tomorrow is primary day. And so, if you're not sure if you've been purged, you could go to the, Secretary of State's website typically and put in your name and make sure that you're registered to vote and that your registration is active and that you're allowed to go and vote, because you'll be really damn sorry if you wait until November 8th. I'll tell you that. So democracy, in my opinion, is not in peril unless people don't do that and then they show up and find themselves purged, which does happen to me. And that was shocking, but I had all day because I had nothing to do. So I had all day to go stand at the supervisor of elections office. And of course, one of the stupid little tricks that they do is this direct mail trick where they'll send you a little postcard that, it's like, it looks like every other, postcard that you get in the mail, everything from the real estate agent that would like to sell your home, to a cleaning company that would like to, clean your carpets or your sofas or whatever. And if you don't return it, then they say, oh, well, you don't live there. So that's one of the things that, could cause you to be purged. In my case, they say that's what caused me to be purged, is that they had sent me this postcard and I didn't return it because I literally touch those unsolicited things that come to me in the mail maybe one time to throw them in the garbage. It's actually called one-touch direct mail, where people touch it the one time and throw it in the garbage. So that could go. But anyway, unless the polls flip or the whole thing, everybody's purged, everybody, because it ain't even close now. But if Trump is, this is the crazy thing for me. Trump is an authoritarian who loves other authoritarians. He loves Saddam Hussein because Saddam Hussein apparently killed terrorists. He loves Vladimir Putin, who is a communist. He loves, he flirts with authoritarians all over the world, and he's an authoritarian. And talking to these crazy white nationalists, and they are nuts, you would think that this is exactly what they despise, somebody, a strong man. And yet they worship Stalin, they worship Hitler. One guy actually told me he was going to pull a Pinochet on me, and he was going to throw me out of a helicopter. Did you see that? So I was like, well, how could these, these people who want, I kind of figured that they're sort of on the libertarian side, except the libertarians want hands off of social issues, right? So I thought maybe that's where they fall. I'm trying to learn, like who they are and what they want. But what's so strange is they seem to want like this uber amount of freedom, but yet they worship authoritarian dictators to the point of you got to kind of say, how did they get there? And when the guy told me he was, going to throw me out of the helicopter, first of all, I couldn't remember. When he said throw me out of the helicopter, I didn't know if he was referring to Reagan's Iran-Contra, Sandinista period, where nuns were thrown out of helicopters. I didn't know if that was what he was saying. But then I realized, oh no, he's talking about Chile, and he's talking about Pinochet, the dictator, who threw people out of helicopters. So I tried to get into a serious discussion with him about the libertarian economics that was foisted upon Chile was, doing just fine. Chile was one of the gems in South America. I don't know if this guy realizes that I lived in Central America for, a long time. I don't know if he knows that about me. I don't really care, but, I have a perspective on it that these guys at their typewriters in their underwear, either snorting, shooting, smoking, meth or Roxy's or just plain old spice or Flocka, which makes you crazy and eats, you'll eat somebody's face off.